From being criticized for casting an actress that looks like the stereotypical Barbie, to having Greta Gerwig express her reservations about the film, the Barbie movie has already sparked a lot of controversy, and chances are that it might ruin Margot Robbie's career, especially when the film director herself believes that the movie has the potential to be a career ender.
But the dolls were always and forever baby dolls.
Sometimes being free means choosing not to go.
When the news of a live-action adaptation of Barbie was announced, everyone was at least a little skeptical, mostly because Barbie had become controversial in recent years, and many criticized the Mattel doll for being a little too whitewashed. Let's just say that in the age of feminism, the unrealistic beauty standards embodied by Barbie aren't exactly welcomed. So you get why Greta was so nervous about taking on this project. But when she finally decided to go ahead with it, her name added a whole lot of credibility to the movie. Gerwig is literally known for making female-centric and thought-provoking films. Her rendition of the classic Little Women was a smashing hit. And how can we forget her brilliant execution of the complex relationship between mothers and daughters? In her critically appraised film, Lady Bird, given that she's well known for telling stories about women's lives from the female lens, people expect her version of Barbie to also fall under the same genre. But turns out that the director had her fair share of reservations and doubts while signing up for the film.
What did you think about this when this...
Well, first of all, I just adore everybody who's in this film, and I'm in that.
You're directing Barbie. You're written and directed this.
That's right. Yes, I wrote it with my partner Noah, and I directed it.
She recently opened up about her fears in an interview. When speaking to Dua Lipa on the At Your Service podcast, the 39-year-old revealed that she feared that this film might just be a career ender for her, mostly because handling such a controversial figure and recreating her as a feminist icon can be a little tricky. Greta didn't know quite where to start with such a complex story. She described the whole journey as a vertigo. She also opened up about the sheer amount of terror she felt when taking on the film, but it looks like the Lady Bird director is quite the risk taker, because she still chose to take the challenge.
Well, I'm thrilled because that is how I felt and how Margot felt, and I'm thrilled that everyone shares that feeling.
That being said, it's not exactly a good sign that the director of the film has such ambiguous feelings about it. And if Greta's worst nightmares do turn into reality, then the movie will not just hurt her career, but Margot Robbie will probably take the brunt of the hit. Yet, this isn't the only reason why the movie will ruin Margot's career.
Doesn't fit in, but that doesn't make it meaningless at all.
How much money you got today for clothes?
The film has the potential to offend a whole lot of people. When we look at Margot Robbie and picture her singing, "I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world," the image fits perfectly in our heads. She literally looks like the conventional Barbie archetype. Her size 0 waist, luscious blonde hair, sparkling blue doe eyes. If you've seen any of the teaser photos from the set, you'd know what I mean. There's a picture of Margot adorned in a bright pink jumpsuit, and she looks like Barbie come to life. But it's 2023, and we're no longer living in a plastic world. People have become more conscious of how the media brainwashes us into hating ourselves. Why do you think Mattel needed to diversify the Barbie doll by adding more than 200 different professions and introduce dolls of varying skin tones and body types? I believe that it wasn't purely out of good faith. They were making the dolls more inclusive to cater to the public demand. But isn't it interesting how the first live-action rendition of Barbie since the doll was launched in 1959 feels sort of like a regression? What's the point of adding so much diversity when you're gonna cast a white, thin, blonde Barbie stereotype? Now, I'm not trying to get all critical, and you can disagree with the opinion if you like, but these aren't my words. This is the critique that has been leveled at Margot and the film ever since the first teaser came out. Let's just say feminists aren't the most pleased with the casting choice. And on top of all this, the ambiguity surrounding the film seems like a red flag. The film is set to release in the summer of 2023, and we still know very little about it. It could be a smashing hit and change our view of Barbie forever, but it might also end up just getting it all wrong. You see, Margot recently mentioned that they plan on giving us something very different from what we expect. Her exact phrasing was that this movie is basically the thing you didn't know you wanted, and while this adds to the hype, it also puts much more pressure on the film to deliver something exceptional. And then again, there's a whole lot of ambiguity surrounding the script of the film as well, and we're still not quite sure what it is going to be about, so there's no real way for the audience to go in prepared. What if we have different expectations that the film just doesn't meet, especially given that this is such a large project? Warner Bros. And Mattel Films are coming together for this mega film, and a failure of this scale can genuinely be career-ending for the actress, especially now that the stakes have been raised this high. The film has a total budget of a whopping $100 million, and Margot is being paid $12.5 million for her role. Any slip-up can lead to a huge loss, and I've already made it clear that there's not a lot of room for mistakes when dealing with themes that are this sensitive. And as it turns out, slip-ups have already begun. Margot has already run into a few problems. Uh-oh, looks like our beloved Harley Quinn may have just pissed a few people off already, even before the film's release. In an interview, Margot mentioned that she wanted the film to honor both the intellectual property and the demands of the audience. Can you guys tell how the comment came off as a little dystopian? People weren't exactly thrilled with the idea that movies were now being created to cater to the IP. When we start treating films like products that come with corporate labels such as IP, it feels like the future of cinema is doomed. So let me get this straight. The creators of the movie want to subvert stereotypes, impress the fans, and honor the IP with just a single film. Phew, that feels like a lot, and we all know what happens when you take on more weight than you can carry. There's a chance you'll get hurt, and Margot has already been hurt quite a bit. So many people have come online to express how they don't think she's a good fit for the role. Now there's even more pressure on her to perform exceptionally well, or she'd just be proving the critics right. And if that happens, we know her career would come under threat, especially because the actress has put a lot of work into the film. For starters, she literally had to beat actresses like Anne Hathaway and Amy Schumer to even get the role of Barbie. Then again, she visibly lost a lot of weight for the role, and that's another controversy in and of itself, especially given that people are trying really hard to promote body positivity. And to add to all of this, she revealed a bit about her preparation for the role and mentioned that her character is like a child. Yikes! Looks like she might just be playing a naive, blonde, pretty girl in the film. It sounds a little like the bimbo stereotype, doesn't it? It's safe to say that signing up for this movie was a huge gamble for Margot.
Since the beginning of time, since the first little girl,
no one can make you feel inferior, not without your consent.
And so far, these are all the reasons why the Barbie movie will ruin Margot Robbie's career.